Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. At this time, we're going to come with a message because it's for us as a people to see where we are, because God has already fixed everything for us. And I go again with the Old Testament, Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, for that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of the Lord. I will also forget my children. And we are, as a people, we read and we go and we understand what God is telling us. That in Hebrews of 13 and 5, it says, he says here that, he says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with things such as you have. For he has said, I will never leave thee or not forsake thee. It's important for us as we live in times like these that we always bring God into the conversation or in the presence of us in our actions, because we're leaving God out of the situation and we're trying to solve it ourselves. Because God, all he's asking us is for us to recognize him and let him be a part of what he's done in our lives. He's fixed us, and we can't get around it. Man and people themselves all have forgotten that we can do nothing on our own. We're looking to scientists, we're looking to all kinds of medical. There's nothing wrong with it, looking for them, but we got to have God in the middle of it. We got to ask God to show us our directions. So many of us think that, well, we can't do this too much because people will think this. We're not worried about what people think. We want to know what God has to say about it. It's not wise to leave God out of our decisions. If we don't understand this, we will still have a problem. The whole world is seeing that we are turning our backs on the Lord. We have rejected the knowledge he's given us. In the beginning, he told us that we have to bring him in. It's all done for his purpose. And as we'll look at Luke and the prodigal son, whether the son went to the father and asked him for all of his living, and then the father gave it to him. But what happened to him when he took the living, what God had given him, or the father had given him, he took it away and wasted it. But what happened is that the father didn't leave him, he walked away from the father. And when he walked away from the father, his money and stuff didn't last. And that's the way our lives are today. We're doing everything that we think we are big enough to do. And we're forgetting about God, because the pride in us make us think that we're so all of it, until we don't think we got to look to God. God didn't make us that way. Because he didn't make us that way, we can't be any other way than what he's made us. All we have to do is look to God and acknowledge him and know that he is the center of our lives. And like prodigal son, what did he do? When he wasted all, then he got up out of the hog pen and went back to his father. He went back to the father because he realized that he couldn't do it himself. And that's the way it is with us so many times. We cannot understand this unless we get to the bottom of the barrel. And then we'll look around and say, well, ain't nothing I can do, so then I just well go back and see what the Father has to offer. I go back and see what God has to offer. We can't do this because the people around us will say this. We can't do this because the people around us will think something different. But we don't care about what people think. We need to do what God is saying. If we put God in the picture as we talk, then all of our problems will be answered. And you say, well, you won't get this, or you won't get disease, or you won't get sick. Didn't say that. But God will be with us in the time of our problems. Whenever we have a problem, God will be with us. But we got to acknowledge him. And our problem in this time in which we live is we left God out of it. You can't leave the main ingredients out of it. If you're making anything, you got to have what it takes to keep things going. And God made us this way. He doesn't matter. He wants us. He made the world. He told us that he'd take it and told us to subdue it and all of this. But he did that so that we could understand that we could have the power over the animals and all things. But we still had to do it like he said. We've tried to do everything to change it. We think we're this and we think that's happened, but it don't work that way. And then this virus, as we said, whether we know it or not, the reason why we're having problems is that we don't put God in the center. If we don't put him in the center, we're going to still have problems. Yes, he's shown us he's not going to let the virus kill us all, but there's going to be a lot of us that have to die and suffer because the fact is that we're not able. We'll be like the prodigal son. We don't, until we get to the bottom, we won't get up and go back to God. So now what happened? The prodigal son saw that he remembered now, I'm here eating, trying to eat with the hogs, and my father's servants has enough food to feed other people, and I won't get up and go back home. And that's the way with us. We might not just think we're doing this straight out, but yet in our lives, we're leaving God out of the situation. We might say, well, I didn't intend to leave God out. I'm not leaving him out. But where is he? In it. Where can you see he's in it? Where can you see God is in this situation that's in the world? He made the whole world. Everything in it belongs to God. And we won't even acknowledge him in our lives, in our efforts that we do. And all the things that we look into the news and we see all the things that are going around, how it's important, how things are going, and people are being destroyed. Everything is upset. And God, we won't admit that all it takes is to go back to God and let him do what he wanted us to do. And when the prodigal son got ready, he got up out of the hog pen and he went back home. Now what happened? The father wasn't upset with him. The father wouldn't grabbed him and hugged him and told him to kill the fatted calf because the father didn't have no issues. He just wanted him to come back to him. That's all it is with this time in which we live. God is not upset with us. But he's upset with us because we will not acknowledge him. And if we acknowledge him, he will acknowledge us. When we do what he said, he will take care of our lives. And that's what we need. And whether we understand it or whether we believe it or whether we want to accept it, we can go keep on doing what we're doing. But we're going to still have to suffer more. But if we go to God, he has the answer. And when his son got back home right away, he could see that he would be able to enjoy and receive the fatted calf because he don't have to eat that at Husson in the hog pen no more. He don't have to eat that because God will understand that we don't have to suffer this thing going on because all we got to do is go to God and he'll take care of it. What did he do? He had the servants to fix the meal, had the servants to bring the son back and restore him back to where he was. The son said, I just want to be a servant. He didn't want his son to be a servant. He wanted his son to be his son. And then after this happened, the older son heard what was going on and he got upset because he didn't think that his father should recognize the son. But God let us understand that he has us all in his hands. All we have to do is recognize him and go to him. And when the older son came to the father, was telling the father about what he wanted, but he wouldn't even go to the father. He came and his father seen him, so the father went to him and brought him back, let him know that he still loved him. He'll bring us all back to him. He's concerned about each individual in our lives. And if we look in the Old Testament, God called us his people. He says, my people. And I want to continue to use the term my people because that's the way God called us. And we'll say this is MP. MP means my people, God's people. And that's what he's talking about. If we will humble ourselves and turn from our evil ways, he'll take care of our lives. He's telling them here, he will, because we didn't acknowledge him. We rejected knowledge, so we're destroyed. And they were still his people. We're still his people. We can't be nobody else's people because ain't nobody else can make people but God. He's the only one. We can say different things and decide that's what we can do, but the beginning starts with God. We have to have something if we want to put. We can't just go out and reach out and get nothing and put man together. We can do things. We can help people and bring different things in, but we got to start with something. We can't, even if food or whatever, we got to have something for us to develop something. We can't make the plant grow. We can help them to grow, but we got to have a plant for the individual. And that's what God wants to do. Come back to him. We don't reject God. Let him be in our plans. Everything we do, look to God and let him be the part of our lives that he's made us to be. Without that, we're going to be in trouble. And it doesn't matter. We can't worry about what people are going to think. because we have to understand that God only wants us to acknowledge Him. If we acknowledge God, everything is taken care of. This COVID-19 is not going to be nothing, because God, all He has to do is just speak. If He made everything, because He made everything, why don't you think He can speak through COVID? When He hung the sun in the sky, when He fixed the moon, all the things, made the world revolve, put water in there, whether all of this He did. He didn't ask any of us. He didn't have to do anything but do it Himself, and He still has the same power. And Jesus said, all power in heaven and earth is given unto me, and we don't realize that. If we realize that, then we'll be able to live like God would have us live. We thank God. Let us all remember that God wants us. It doesn't matter who we are. All we have to do is get on our knees and pray. Some of the people will say, I need somebody to pray for me because I can't pray for. All you got to do is get rid of that pride and get on your knees and talk to God. Ask Him. Talk to Him just like you talk. You walk around in the room and talk to yourself. You walk around the room and talk to the enemy. Just talk to God and acknowledge Him. And that's how you pray. You don't have to ask nobody else to pray for you. Just talk to God, because He's closer than anybody, any other spirit or any other person or anything. You just talk to Him. Just talk. Use your mouth. You think He's gonna make you with a mouth and then will fix it where you can't talk to Him with it? Won't open His ears to hear you. He will hear you, and that's what we need. We thank God in Jesus' name. We pray. Amen. Amen.
Study.
3, 2, 1. Let us all pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. At this time, we're going to come with a message, because it's for us as a people to see where we are, because God has already fixed everything for us. And I go again with the Old Testament, Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, for that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of the Lord. I will also forget my children. And we are, as a people, we read it, we go and we understand what God is telling us. That in Hebrews 13 and 5, it says, He says here that He says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with things such as you have. For He has said, I will never leave thee nor not forsake thee. It's important for us as we live in times like these that we always bring God into the conversation or in the presence of us in our actions, because we're leaving God out of the situation and we're trying to solve it ourselves. Because God, all He's asking us is for us to recognize Him and let Him be a part of what He's done in our lives. He's fixed us, and we can't get around it. Man and people themselves all have forgotten that we can do nothing on our own. We're looking to scientists, we're looking to all kinds of medical. There's nothing wrong with it. Looking for them, but we got to have God in the middle of it. We got to ask God to show us our direction. So many of us think that, well, we can't do this too much because people will think this. We're not worried about what people think. We want to know what God has to say about it. It's not wise to leave God out of our decisions. If we don't understand this, we will still have a problem. The whole world is seeing that we are turning our backs on the Lord. We have rejected the knowledge He's given us. In the beginning, He told us that we have to bring Him in. It's all done for His purpose. And as we'll look at Luke and the prodigal son, whether the son went to the father and asked him for all of his living, and then the father gave it to him. But what happened to him when he took the living, what God had given him, or the father had given him, he took it away and wasted it. But what happened is that the father didn't leave him, he walked away from the father. And when he walked away from the father, his money and stuff didn't last. And that's the way our lives are today. We're doing everything that we think we are big enough to do. And we're forgetting about God because the pride in us make us think that we're so all of it until we don't think we got to look to God. God didn't make us that way because he didn't make us that way. We can't be any other way than what he made us. All we have to do is look to God and acknowledge him and know that he is the center of our lives. And like prodigal son, what did he do? When he wasted all, then he got up out of the hog pen and went back to his father. He went back to the father because he realized that he couldn't do it himself. And that's the way it is with us so many times. We cannot understand this unless we get to the bottom of the barrel. And then we look around and say, well, ain't nothing I can do. So then I just well go back and see what the Father has to offer. I go back and see what God has to offer. We can't do this because the people around us will say this. We can't do this because the people around us will think something different. But we don't care about what people think. We need to do what God is saying. If we put God in the picture as we talk, then all of our problems will be answered. And you say, well, you won't get this, or you won't get disease, or you won't get sick. Didn't say that. But God will be with us in the time of our problems. Whenever we have a problem, God will be with us. But we got to acknowledge him. And our problem in this time in which we live is we left God out of it. You can't leave the main ingredients out of it. If you're making anything, you got to have what it takes to keep things going. And God made us this way. He doesn't matter. He wants us. He made the world. He told us that he'd take it and told us to subdue it and all of this. But he did that so that we could understand that we could have the power over the animals and all things. But we still had to do it like he said. We've tried to do everything to change it. We think we're this and we think that's happened, but it don't work that way. And then this virus, as we said, whether we know it or not, the reason why we're having problems is that we don't put God in the center. If we don't put him in the center, we're going to still have problems. Yes, he's shown us he's not going to let the virus kill us all, but there's going to be a lot of us that have to die and suffer because the fact is that we're not able. We'll be like the prodigal son. We don't, until we get to the bottom, we won't get up and go back to God. So now what happened? The prodigal son saw that he remembered now, I'm here eating, trying to eat with the hogs, and my father's servants has enough food to feed other people, and I won't get up and go back home. And that's the way with us. We might not just think we're doing this straight out, but yet in our lives, we're leaving God out of the situation. We might say, well, I didn't intend to leave God out. I'm not leaving him out, but where is he? In it. Where can you see he's in it? Where can you see God is in this situation that's in the world? He made the whole world. Everything in it belongs to God. And we won't even acknowledge him in our lives, in our efforts that we do. And all the things that we look at the news and we see all the things that are going around, how it's important, how things are going, and people are being destroyed. Everything is upset. And God, we won't admit that all it takes is to go back to God and let him do what he wanted us to do. And when the prodigal son got ready, he got up out of the hog pen and he went back home. Now what happened? The father wasn't upset with him. The father wouldn't grab him and hugged him and told him to kill the fatted calf because the father didn't have no issues. He just wanted him to come back to him. That's all it is with this time in which we live. God is not upset with us but he's upset with us because we will not acknowledge him. And if we acknowledge him, he will acknowledge us. When we do what he said, he will take care of our lives. And that's what we need. And whether we understand it or whether we believe it or whether we want to accept it, we can go keep on doing what we're doing. But we're going to still have to suffer more. But if we go to God, he has the answer. And when his son got back home right away, he could see that he would be able to enjoy and receive the fatted calf because he don't have to eat that at us in the hog pen. You don't have to eat that because God wants to understand that we don't have to suffer this thing going on because all we got to do is go to God and he'll take care of it. What did he do? He had the servants to fix the meal, had the servants to bring the son back and restore him back to where he was. The son said, I just want to be a servant. He didn't want his son to be a servant. He wanted his son to be his son. And then after this happened, the older son heard what was going on and he got upset because he didn't think that his father should recognize the son. But God let us understand that he has us all in his hands. All we have to do is recognize him and go to him. And when the older son came to the father, telling the father about what he wanted, when He wouldn't even go to the Father. He came and his Father sent him, so the Father went to him and brought him back. Let him know that he still loves him. He'll bring us all back to him. He's concerned about each individual in our lives. As we look at the Old Testament, God called us his people. He says, my people. And I want to continue to use the term my people, because that's the way God called us. And we'll say this, MP. MP means my people, God's people. And that's what he's talking about. If we will humble ourselves and turn from our evil ways, he'll take care of our lives. He's telling them here, he will, because we didn't acknowledge him, we rejected knowledge, so we're destroyed. And they were still his people. We're still his people. We can't be nobody else's people, because ain't nobody else can make people of God. He's the only one. We can say different things and decide what we can do, but the beginning starts with God. We have to have something if we want to put. We can't just go out and reach out and get nothing and put man together. We can do things. We can help people and bring different things in, but that starts with something. We can't, even in food or whatever, we got to have something for us to develop something new. We can't make the plant grow. We can help them to grow, but we got to have a plant for the individual. And that's what God wants to do. Come back to him. We don't reject God. Let him be in our plans. Everything we do, look to God and let him be the part of our lives that he's made us to be. Without that, we're going to be in trouble. It doesn't matter. We can't worry about what people are going to think, because we have to understand that God only wants us to acknowledge him. If we acknowledge God, everything is taken care of. This COVID-19 is not going to be nothing, because God, all he has to do is just speak. If he made everything, because he made everything, why don't you think he would speak to COVID? When he hung the sun in the sky, when he fixed the moon, all the things, made the world revive, put water in there, whether all of this, he didn't ask any of us. He didn't have to do anything but do it himself. And he still has the same power. And Jesus said, all power in heaven and earth is given unto me. And we don't realize that. If we realize that, then we'll be able to live like God would have us live. We thank God. Let us all remember that God wants us. It doesn't matter who we are. All we have to do is get on our knees and pray. Some of the people said, I need somebody to pray for me, because I can't pray for me. All you got to do is get rid of that pride and get on your knees and talk to God. Ask him, talk to him, just like you talk. You walk around in the room and talk to yourself. You walk around the room and talk to the enemy. Just talk to God and acknowledge him. And that's how you pray. You don't have to ask nobody else to pray for you. Just talk to God, because he's closer than any other spirit or any other person or anything. Just talk to him. Just talk. Use your mouth. You think he's going to make you with a mouth and then he'll fix it where you can't talk to him with it? Won't open his ears to hear you. He will hear you. And that's what we